The alarm bells rang loud through the ship as Captain Jake Morrison ran down the metal hallway. His boots made sharp sounds on the floor with each step. The lights flashed red and white, telling everyone on board that something big was happening. "Report," Jake said as he reached the bridge. His voice was calm but firm. He had been captain of the Odyssey Dawn for 6 years now, and he knew how to handle surprises. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Cooper turned from his station. His face was serious. "Captain, we found something, a ship. It's huge, bigger than anything we've seen before." Jake walked to the main screen and looked at what they had found. The ship floating in space was massive. It looked old, very old. Parts of it were dark, and other parts glowed with a strange blue light. The metal looked different from human ships. It had curves and angles that hurt to look at for too long. "How big?" Jake asked. "About 20 times the size of our ship, sir," Ryan said. "Maybe bigger. It's hard to tell because some parts of it seem to bend the light around them." Dr. Lisa Hamilton came onto the bridge. She was the ship's expert on alien life and new worlds. Her hair was pulled back tight and she carried a data pad in her hands. "Captain, I've been studying the readings. This ship is not from any race we know about. The metal, the energy patterns, everything is different." Jake nodded. "Any signs of life?" "Yes, sir. One life form. Very weak. Whatever is on that ship is dying." The three of them stood quiet for a moment, looking at the alien ship on the screen. In all their years exploring space, they had met many alien races. Some were friendly, some were not. But this was different. This ship looked ancient, like it had been flying through space for thousands of years. "Sir," Ryan said. "We're getting a signal. Put it through." The main screen changed. Now they could see inside the alien ship. The walls were covered with symbols that moved and changed colors. In the center of the room sat a creature unlike anything they had ever seen. It was tall and thin, with long arms that ended in hands with too many fingers. Its skin looked like it was made of metal and flesh mixed together. But its eyes were the strangest part. They were large and blue, and they looked very old and very tired. The creature spoke, but the words were not in any human language. The ship's computer tried to translate, but it could only give them pieces. "Greetings, young ones. I am Zethvar. I have been waiting so long." Dr. Hamilton stepped forward. "This is incredible. The computer is learning its language as it speaks. Give it a few more minutes." The alien creature, Zethvar, kept talking. Slowly, the computer got better at translating his words. "I am the last of my kind, the last Kethmori. My people are gone, but I have kept myself alive for one purpose: to find you." Jake felt a chill run down his back. "To find us, you were looking for humans?" "Not humans," Zethvar said. His voice was getting clearer as the computer learned more. "We were looking for the ones who would come after us, the ones who could carry what we could not." Dr. Hamilton was writing notes as fast as she could. "Captain, this is amazing. His people, the Kethmori, they're mentioned in some of the oldest alien texts we've found, but those texts said they died out thousands of years ago." "We did die out," Zethvar said. "All but me. I stayed alive to wait for you, to wait for the ones who could take our place." "Take your place doing what?" Jake asked. The alien was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was very serious. "Guarding the knowledge of the dead, protecting the secrets that could destroy or save the galaxy. My people did this job for 10,000 years. Before us, others did it. And before them, others. Still." Ryan looked confused. "What kind of knowledge?" "The kind that ended civilizations. The kind that created new worlds. The kind that should only be trusted to those who are worthy." Zethvar's eyes seemed to look right through the screen at each of them. "We have tested many races over the centuries. All have failed. All have been found wanting." "But you think humans are different?" Dr. Hamilton asked. "I do not think. I know. I have been watching your people for 50 of your years. I have seen how you fight, how you grow, how you care for each other even when you are afraid. You have something the others did not have. Jake felt the weight of the alien's words. What do we have? Hope. Real hope. Not the false hope that comes from being strong or smart. The hope that comes from being willing to try again after you fail. The hope that makes you help others even when it costs you something. The bridge was very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what the alien had said. There is not much time, Zethvar continued. My body is failing, soon I will die, and the knowledge I guard will die with me. Unless I can pass it on, unless I can find someone worthy to take my place. Why us? Jake asked. Why humans? Because you are still young enough to learn, but old enough to understand responsibility. Because you have been hurt, but not broken. Because when you found other races in the galaxy, you tried to make friends instead of making war. Dr. Hamilton looked up from her notes. What exactly are you asking us to do? I am asking you to come aboard my ship, to meet me face to face, to let me test whether you are truly ready for what I must give you. Jake looked at Ryan, then at Dr. Hamilton. This was the biggest decision he had ever had to make as a captain. If this alien was telling the truth, then humanity was about to be offered something incredible and dangerous. If he was lying, they could all be walking into a trap. Captain, Dr. Hamilton said quietly, we have to try. This could change everything for our species. Jake made his choice. We'll come aboard your ship, Zethvar, but we come ready to defend ourselves if needed. The alien's face changed in what might have been a smile. I would expect nothing less from the ones we have been waiting for. Come, young inheritors. Let us see if you are truly ready to become our legacy. 3 days later, the meeting room on Earth was full of angry voices. General Paul Stevens hit the table with his fist. His face was red, and his uniform had more medals than anyone could count. This is crazy, he said. We don't know anything about these aliens. They could be lying. They could be planning to attack us. Dr. Alex Chen shook his head. He was a thin man with thick glasses who spent most of his time thinking about space and time and how the universe worked. General, the technology we've seen from their ship is beyond anything we understand. If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it already. Ambassador Helen Carter sat at the head of the table. She had been chosen to speak for all of humanity in this matter. It was the biggest job anyone had ever been given. The question is not whether they can hurt us. The question is whether we can trust them. Captain Jake Morrison stood up. He had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now everyone looked at him. I've talked to Zethvar for hours. I've seen his ship. Whatever he's offering us, it's real. And it's big. Bigger than anything we can imagine. But what is it exactly? Asked Commander Kate Williams. She was the best pilot in the human fleet, and she was known for asking the hard questions. What is this knowledge he wants to give us? On the main screen, Zethvar appeared. He looked even weaker than before. His blue skin was getting pale, and he moved very slowly. I will show you, he said. But first, you must understand what happened to the others. The screen changed to show images that made everyone in the room go quiet. They saw worlds that were nothing but ash and dust. They saw the remains of great cities floating in space. They saw stars that had been torn apart. The Vornash were the first, Zethvar said. They were smart and strong. We gave them the knowledge of the ancients. Within 100 years, they had used it to destroy half their galaxy. They could not control the power. More images appeared. Different worlds, different races, all dead. The Keyline were next. They were wise and careful. They studied the knowledge for 300 years before using it. But when they did, they became so proud that they thought they were gods. They tried to remake the universe to serve them. The universe fought back. Dr. Chen was writing notes, as fast as he could. How many races have you tested? 47 over the last 5,000 years. All failed. All died. Some quickly, some slowly. But all died, because they could not handle what we gave them. General Stevens stood up. Then why do you think we'll be different? Because you already are different, Zethvar said. Watch. The screen showed videos of humans, but these were not normal videos. They showed things that had happened throughout. human history, but from space, like someone had been watching Earth for a long time. They saw humans helping each other during natural disasters. They saw humans sharing food during hard times. They saw humans risking their lives to save strangers. They also saw humans fighting wars and doing terrible things. But then they saw humans learning from their mistakes and trying to do better. Every other race we tested had one way of thinking, Zethvar said. When they found power, they used it the same way every time. But humans are different. You change, you learn, you grow stronger when things get hard instead of giving up. Commander Williams leaned forward. You've been watching us? For 50 years. We had to be sure. The knowledge I carry is too dangerous to give to the wrong people. Engineer Tony Rodriguez raised his hand. He was young and always eager to learn new things. What kind of knowledge are we talking about? The collected wisdom of 200 dead civilizations. Technology that can create or destroy worlds. Weapons that can move stars. Medicine that can bring back the dead. Art and music and poetry from races you have never heard of. And most important of all, the responsibility to keep it safe. The room was quiet for a long time. Finally, Ambassador Carter spoke. What do you want us to do? I want to test 3 of you, to see if humans can really handle what I must give you. The tests will be dangerous. They might kill you. But if you pass, humanity will inherit everything. Commander Williams stood up. I'll do it. General Stevens looked shocked. Kate, you don't know what you're agreeing to. Yes, I do, she said. This is the most important thing that has ever happened to our species. Someone has to take the risk. Dr. Chen nodded. I'll be the second. And I'll be the third, said Tony Rodriguez. Zethvar's image flickered. He was getting weaker. Good. Come to my ship tomorrow. Bring medical teams. You will need them. The next day, the 3 volunteers went to the alien ship. The inside was even stranger than they had expected. The walls seemed to be alive, pulsing with soft light. The air tasted different, like metal and flowers mixed together. Zethvar met them in a large room filled with machines that hurt to look at. They were too complex, with too many moving parts and too many colors. These are the testing devices, he said. They will look into your minds and souls. They will show you power beyond your dreams. They will tempt you and try to break you. Most importantly, they will see if you can resist the urge to use power for yourselves alone. Commander Williams went first. She put her hands on a device that looked like a crystal mixed with metal. At first, nothing happened. Then she screamed. Her body lit up with energy. Her eyes became bright white. She rose off the ground and floated in the air. Around her, images appeared of things that could be. Cities in the sky. Worlds made green and beautiful. Ships that could travel between galaxies in seconds. But then the images changed. They showed her ruling over other humans. They showed her using the alien technology to make herself powerful. They showed her becoming the most important person in the galaxy. For a moment, Williams smiled. The power felt good. It felt right. Then, she remembered who she was. She remembered her friends and family. She remembered that she was there to help humanity, not to rule it. No, she said out loud. This power isn't for me. It's for all of us. The energy around her faded. She fell, to the ground, unconscious but alive. The alien machines made sounds like singing. Zethvar looked amazed. In 5,000 years, only 3 beings have ever said no to that vision. You are the 4th. Dr. Chen and Tony Rodriguez took their tests next. Both passed, though they also collapsed afterward. When all 3 woke up hours later, they were different. They could understand the alien machines. They could feel the knowledge waiting to be shared. You have passed the first test, Zethvar said. But there are more to come. The real question is not whether you can resist power. The real question is whether your entire species can. 2 weeks after the tests, Professor Janet Stone sat in her small office looking at symbols that made her head hurt. She was the best person on Earth at reading old languages, but these symbols were different from anything she had ever seen. They seemed to move when she was not looking directly at them. Professor, her assistant called from the doorway. Captain Murphy is here to see you. Captain Ben Murphy walked into the office. He was a big man with scars on his hands from years of exploring dangerous places in space. Janet, we need you to come with us. Zethvar says it's time to see the real treasure. Professor Stone looked up from her work. The real treasure? I thought the tests were the important part. The tests were just to see if we could handle what comes next, Murphy said. Now he wants to show us where the ancient knowledge is really kept. 3 hours later, Professor Stone was on a ship heading toward the center of the galaxy. With her were Captain Murphy and Dr. Rachel Foster, who studied how the human brain worked. Dr. Foster had been amazed by the changes in the 3 people who took the tests. Their brains were working differently now, faster and in ways that should not be possible. Zethvar appeared on their ship's screen. He looked worse than ever, but his eyes were bright with excitement. We are going to the Nexus, he said. The place where all the ancient knowledge is kept. No living being has seen it for 1,000 years. Why now? Dr. Foster asked. Why show us now instead of before the tests? Because now I know you can be trusted, and because I am dying faster than I hoped. We have little time left. The journey took 5 days. When they finally arrived, Professor Stone could not believe what she saw. In front of them was a structure that looked like a small moon, but it was clearly built by someone. Its surface was covered with patterns that hurt to look at, and it glowed with light that came from inside. The Nexus, Zethvar said. Built by the first civilization to gather ancient knowledge, added to by every guardian race that came after. This is where the real inheritance waits. Their ship docked with the Nexus through a door that opened by itself. Inside, the hallways were huge, big enough for giants to walk through. The walls were covered with writing in hundreds of different languages. Some of the writing glowed, some moved, and some seemed to be alive. Professor Stone ran her hands along the walls. Somehow she could understand some of the writing now. The tests had changed her brain, just like they had changed the others. This is incredible, she whispered. These are the histories of entire civilizations, stories, laws, poems, everything. Captain Murphy led them deeper into the Nexus. They found rooms full of machines that looked like they were grown instead of built. They found libraries with books made of light. They found art that showed scenes from worlds that no longer existed. In one room, they found something that made them all stop and stare. It was a wall covered with what looked like sleeping faces. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, all different species. The preserved minds, Zethvar explained. When each guardian civilization died out, they left behind their greatest thinkers. Their consciousness is stored here, waiting to share their knowledge with those who are worthy. Dr. Foster stepped closer to the wall. They're still alive? In a way. They sleep, but they can wake up to teach. They have been waiting for the right students for a very long time. As they walked through more rooms, they found weapons that could destroy stars, machines that could create new planets, and devices that could heal any disease or injury. But they also found darker things. They found weapons that could make entire species go insane. They found viruses that could kill every living thing on a world. They found machines that could tear holes in space itself. This is why so many civilizations failed, Professor Stone said. The temptation to use these things must be enormous. Every guardian race faced the same choice, Zethvar said. Use the power to make themselves rulers of the galaxy, or keep it safe for future generations. Most chose power. That is why most are now dead. Captain Murphy found a room that contained what looked like a map of the entire galaxy. But this map showed not just where things were, but where they had been and where they would be. It showed the rise and fall of civilizations across millions of years. Look at this, he called to the others. I can see Earth on here. I can see the paths of every human ship that has ever traveled through space. Dr. Foster was studying a device that seemed to be scanning her brain. This machine is learning how human minds work, she said. It's comparing us to all the other species that have been here before. What does it say? Professor Stone asked. It says we're different. Not smarter or stronger, but different. We process information in a way that no other species does. We can hold 2 opposite ideas in our minds at the same time without going crazy. Zethvar nodded slowly. That is exactly right. Other species think in straight lines. If something is good, they use it. If something is bad, they avoid it. But humans are more complex. You can see that something is both good and bad at the same time. You can want something but choose not to take it. They spent hours exploring the Nexus. In every room they found wonders and terrors in equal measure. They found the cure for death, but also the power to end all life. They found the secret of traveling faster than light, but also weapons that could stop time itself. Finally, they came to the center of the Nexus. Here was a simple room with a single chair and a single device. The device looked like a crown made of light and metal mixed together. This is the control crown, Zethvar said. Whoever wears it becomes the guardian of all this knowledge. They can decide what to share and what to keep hidden. They can choose who lives and who dies across the galaxy. Professor Stone looked at the crown with fear. That's too much power for anyone to have. Yes, Zethvar said. That is exactly why you might be the right choice. Every other species wanted to wear the crown. You are the first to be afraid of it. Captain Murphy walked around the chair. What happened to the last person who wore it? He was my teacher, the previous guardian of the Kethmori. He wore the crown for 3,000 years, watching over the galaxy, keeping the balance. When he died, he passed the responsibility to me. But I was not strong enough to wear the crown. I was only strong enough to search for someone who could. Dr. Foster was looking at readings from her scanner. The crown is alive, she said. It's not just a machine. It's some kind of living technology that bonds with whoever wears it. Bonds? How? Professor Stone asked. Forever, Zethvar said. The person who wears the crown becomes part of the Nexus. They can never leave. They become the eternal guardian, watching over the knowledge until they find someone worthy to take their place. The three humans looked at each other. They had come here expecting to find treasure, but instead they had found the biggest responsibility in the galaxy. Someone would have to give up their life, their freedom, everything they had ever known to keep this knowledge safe. How long do we have to decide? Captain Murphy asked. Zethvar flickered and became more transparent. Not long. I can feel my life ending. If someone does not take the crown soon, all of this will be lost forever. And there are others out there who would use this power for terrible things. As if his words had summoned them, alarms began to sound. Throughout the Nexus, on the screens around them, they could see ships approaching, lots of ships. Ships from different alien races, all armed for war. They know we're here, Dr. Foster said. They want what we have found, Zethvar said. And they will kill us all to get it. Back on Earth, President Maria Gonzalez stood in the war room watching the screens with growing fear. The reports coming in were bad, very bad. Alien fleets were gathering at the edges of human space, and they all wanted the same thing. How many ships? She asked General Stevens. Over 3,000 from 12 different alien races, he replied. The Vortok Empire has sent their entire battle fleet. The Synthetic Collective has brought their biggest war machines. Even the peaceful Silani have armed themselves. Dr. Nathan Brooks, the head of the Ethics Committee, shook his head. This is exactly what I was afraid of. We've started a war just by talking to that alien. It's not our fault, said Colonel Sarah Davis. She was in charge of the Special Forces that protected Earth's most important secrets. These aliens have been looking for the ancient knowledge for centuries. They would have found it eventually, with or without us. President Gonzalez turned to face the room full of military officers and scientists. The question is, what do we do now? Do we fight them all? Do we try to share the knowledge? Do we give up and let them take it? On the main screen, a message came through from the Nexus. Professor Stone's face appeared and she looked scared. Madam President, we have a problem. There are alien ships surrounding the Nexus. They're demanding that we surrender the ancient knowledge to them. How much time do we have? President Gonzalez asked. Not much. Zethvar is dying. If someone doesn't take control of the ancient technology soon, it will shut down forever. But whoever takes control will have to stay here forever, as the guardian. The room was quiet for a moment. Then scientist Emma Thompson spoke up. She was young but very smart, and she had been studying the reports from the Nexus. "There might be another way," she said. "What do you mean?" asked the president. "What if we don't try to control the knowledge? What if we find a way to share it safely instead?" Dr. Brooks looked interested. "Share it how?" "I've been studying the data from the Nexus. The ancient technology responds to human emotions and thoughts in ways it never did with other species. Maybe that's the key. Maybe we can teach it to work with multiple guardians instead of just one." Meanwhile, at the Nexus, Captain Murphy was trying to keep the peace. The alien ships had sent representatives to negotiate, but the negotiations were not going well. The Vortak commander was a huge creature covered in metal armor. His voice sounded like grinding rocks. "Humans have no right to the ancient knowledge. We are the strongest race in the galaxy. We should be the guardians." The synthetic collective sent a robot that spoke in a voice like music. "Biological beings are too emotional to handle such power. Only artificial minds can be trusted with the responsibility." The Zilani representative was more polite, but just as determined. "We have studied the ancient races for 1,000 years. We understand their history better than anyone. The knowledge should come to us." Captain Murphy stood in the middle of the room facing all of them. "The knowledge doesn't belong to any of us," he said. "It belongs to everyone. The ancients left it for all the races of the galaxy to learn from." The Vortak commander laughed, a sound like breaking metal. "Naive humans. Knowledge is power, and power belongs to those strong enough to take it. That's exactly the kind of thinking that destroyed the previous Guardian races," Professor Stone said. She had been studying the history files and learning terrible things. Every species that tried to hoard this knowledge ended up destroying themselves. Dr. Foster was working with Emma Thompson over the communication link, trying to find a solution. "Emma, what if we could modify the control crown? Instead of bonding with one person, what if it could bond with representatives from multiple species?" "That's what I've been thinking," Emma replied from Earth. "But it would require all the species to work together. They would have to trust each other." The Vortak commander overheard this. "Trust? We trust no one. We take what we want." "Then you'll never get the knowledge," Captain Murphy said. "The ancient technology can sense your intentions. It won't work for anyone who wants to use it for conquest." To prove his point, Captain Murphy led everyone to a room full of ancient weapons. The Vortak commander reached for one of the devices, but as soon as he touched it, alarms went off and the weapon shut down. "The machine knows you want to use it to hurt others," Professor Stone explained. "It won't work for you." The synthetic collective robot tried next, but the same thing happened. The weapon could sense that the robot wanted to use it to control other beings. When the Zilani representative tried, the weapon glowed slightly but still did not work. "You have good intentions," Dr. Foster said, "but you still want to keep the knowledge for your own people only." Finally, Captain Murphy picked up the weapon. It came to life in his hands, glowing with soft light. "It works for me because I don't want to use it at all," he said. "I only want to keep it safe." The alien representatives looked at each other with new understanding. The ancient technology was not just powerful, it was wise. It could judge the hearts and minds of those who tried to use it. Back on Earth, the debate was getting heated. Some military leaders wanted to fight all the alien fleets. Others wanted to surrender and hope for mercy. But President Gonzalez was thinking about what Emma Thompson had said. "What if we make an offer?" she said. "What if we invite representatives from every species to come and study the knowledge together? Not to take it, but to learn from it." General Stevens looked shocked. "That's crazy. We can't trust them." "We don't have to trust them," Colonel Davis said. "The ancient technology will do the judging for us. If they have good intentions, they can learn. If they don't, the machines won't work for them." Dr. Brooks nodded slowly. "It's risky, but it might be the only way to avoid a war that could destroy the galaxy." At the Nexus, things were getting worse. More alien ships were arriving every hour. Some were starting to fire warning shots at each other. The situation was about to explode into violence. Then Zethvar appeared one last time. He looked like a ghost now, barely there at all. "There is something I must tell you," he said, "something about the real test." Everyone stopped arguing and listened. "The test was never about finding one guardian," Zethvar said. "The test was about finding a species that could bring all the others together. The ancients built this system to wait for a race that could unite the galaxy instead of dividing it." Professor Stone felt a chill run down her spine. "You mean the real inheritance isn't the knowledge itself?" "The knowledge is just the tool," Zethvar said. "The real inheritance is the responsibility to teach others how to use it wisely. To help all species grow together instead of fighting each other." Captain Murphy looked at the alien representatives around him. "What if we all became guardians together? What if instead of fighting over the knowledge, we shared the responsibility of protecting it?" The Vortok commander was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in a voice softer than before. "In all our history, no one has ever offered to share power with us. They only tried to take it away." The synthetic collective robot's lights flickered. "Cooperation instead of competition. It is an interesting concept." The Zilani representative smiled. "Perhaps it is time for all of us to learn something new." But just as hope was beginning to grow, the alarm sounded again. On the screens, they could see ships from the most dangerous species in the galaxy approaching. The Devourers had arrived, and they wanted to destroy the ancient knowledge completely. The Devourer ships were black as space itself, and they moved like hungry sharks through the darkness. Admiral Lisa Parker watched them approach from her command ship and felt her blood turn cold. She had fought many battles in her career, but nothing like this. "How many ships?" she asked her second in command. 500, Admiral. All armed with weapons we've never seen before," came the reply. "And they're not slowing down." At the Nexus, Captain Murphy was trying to keep everyone calm, but it was not working. The alien representatives who had been talking about cooperation just minutes before were now preparing to run away. "The Devourers destroy everything they touch," the Vortok commander said. His voice was full of fear. "They believe that all advanced technology is evil. They will kill us all and destroy the Nexus." Dr. Victor Kane, who had just arrived from Earth with a team of engineers, was studying the ancient control systems. "There has to be a way to defend this place," he said. "The ancients must have built some kind of protection." Professor Stone was reading through the historical files as fast as she could. "Here," she said. "The Nexus has defensive systems, but they only work if multiple species operate them together. No single race can activate the defenses alone." Captain Amy Nelson, who had been sent to try to talk to the Devourers, appeared on the screen. Her ship was small and fast, built for talking rather than fighting. "I've tried to contact them," she said. "They won't listen. They just keep saying that the ancient knowledge is a poison that must be destroyed." The Devourer ships opened fire on the outer defenses of the Nexus. The ancient shields held, but they flickered with each hit. It was clear they would not last long. "We have to work together," Captain Murphy said to the alien representatives. "Just like Professor Stone said, the defenses only work if we all help." The synthetic collective robot moved first. "We will assist," it said, and its metal hands began touching the ancient control panels. The Nexus hummed with new energy. The Zilani representative joined in next, then the Vortok commander. One by one, each species began working the controls. The ancient machines responded by creating a shield stronger than anything any of them had ever seen. But the Devourers kept coming. Their weapons were designed specifically to destroy ancient technology, and even the combined shield was starting to weaken. "It's not enough," Dr. Kane said. "We need more people working together." Admiral Parker's voice came through the communication system. "This is Admiral Parker of the human fleet. We're bringing every ship we have to help defend the Nexus." But it was not just human ships that appeared. Ships from dozens of different species began arriving, all coming to help protect the ancient knowledge. Even species that had been enemies for centuries were working together. Engineer Carlos Martinez was working frantically to adapt the ancient weapons systems. "I think I can modify these to work with our ships," he said. "But it will require pilots from different species to work together in ways that have never been tried before." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships worked alongside Vortak warships. Synthetic collective robots coordinated with Zilani fighters. Species that had never trusted each other were now fighting side by side. The Devourers were powerful, but they had never faced anything like this. Every time they destroyed one ship, two more appeared to take its place. Every time they broke through the defenses in one area, defenders from another species would fill the gap. Captain Nelson realized something important during the battle. "They're not just trying to destroy the Nexus," she told Admiral Parker. "They're trying to destroy the idea of cooperation itself. They believe that different species working together is dangerous." "Then we'll show them they're wrong," Admiral Parker replied. The turning point came when the Devourer flagship broke through the main defenses and headed straight for the heart of the Nexus. It looked like nothing could stop it, but then something amazing happened. The preserved minds of the ancient civilizations began to wake up. The sleeping faces on the walls of the Nexus opened their eyes and began to speak. They spoke in languages from across the galaxy, but somehow everyone could understand them. "We have been waiting," they said, "waiting for the species that could unite instead of divide, waiting for those who could share instead of hoard. You have passed the final test." The ancient minds joined their power with the living defenders. The Nexus itself came alive not as a weapon but as a teacher. Instead of destroying the Devourer ships, it began to show them visions of what the galaxy could become if all species worked together. The Devourer commander appeared on the communication screens. He was a tall, thin being with sad eyes. "We have spent so long fighting the darkness," he said. "We forgot that there could be light." "Join us," Captain Murphy said. "Help us build something better." The fighting stopped. The Devourer ships powered down their weapons. For the first time in thousands of years, every major species in the galaxy was working together instead of fighting. In the weeks that followed, they established the Galactic Heritage Foundation. Instead of one guardian watching over the ancient knowledge, there would be many. Representatives from every species would work together to decide what knowledge to share and when to share it. President Gonzalez arrived at the Nexus for the signing ceremony. "This is the most important day in galactic history," she said. "Not because we found ancient technology, but because we learned to trust each other." The control crown was modified to work with multiple guardians. No one person would have to sacrifice their freedom forever. Instead, the responsibility would be shared by many, rotating between different species and individuals. Professor Stone became the first human guardian, but she would only serve for 10 years before passing the responsibility to someone else. "The knowledge belongs to everyone," she said, "and everyone should have a chance to help protect it." Dr. Foster discovered that exposure to the ancient technology was causing all the guardian species to evolve in positive ways. They were becoming smarter, more empathetic, and better at working together. "We're not just protecting the ancient knowledge," she said. "We're becoming something new ourselves." Captain Murphy was put in charge of exploration teams that would search for other ancient sites across the galaxy. "There's so much more out there to discover," he said, "and now we have the wisdom to handle whatever we find." The Nexus became a school where beings from across the galaxy could come to learn. Human children studied alongside young Vortak warriors and synthetic collective robots. They learned not just science and technology, but art and music and philosophy from hundreds of different cultures. Zethavar's final message was found in the depths of the Nexus computer systems. "You have done what we could not," it said. "You have brought the galaxy together. You have shown that different species can work as one without losing what makes them special. You are truly worthy to be our legacy." Years later, when Captain Morrison was an old man, he would tell his grandchildren about the day humanity became the guardians of ancient knowledge. But he always made sure to tell them the most important part of the story. "We didn't succeed because we were stronger or smarter than the other species," he would say. "We succeeded because we learned that sharing power makes everyone stronger. We learned that the best way to protect something precious is to teach others to love it too. The galaxy was no longer divided into competing empires and suspicious alliances. It had become a community of different species working together toward common goals. They still had disagreements and problems, but they solved them by talking and cooperating instead of fighting. And at the heart of it all was the lesson that the ancients had been trying to teach for thousands of years. True strength comes not from dominating others, but from helping them become the best they can be. True wisdom comes not from hoarding knowledge, but from sharing it freely with those who will use it well. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or rulers, but as teachers and bridge builders. They had become the species that helped all the others remember how to work together. And that, more than any ancient technology or powerful weapon, was the greatest legacy of all